best ways for a community to really grow is to share what's working, because it creates this like hive mind effect where everyone, oh, what did you do? What did you do over here? Oh, no, this is working. Oh, this follow-up sequence is working.
Believe in yourself, take the leap. It's going to suck, it's going to hurt, but I promise if you have the grit and determination, just do it. I mean, literally just do it. That's how
That's
I'm able to barely be in my business is I literally can look at that for 2 seconds, see these two or three metrics, and I can tell you exactly what's wrong. Got a little bit of money saved up from doing PPLs, but I was hitting that roller coaster effect, like RJ says. I was getting deals, funding them, then all of a sudden, oh shit, I ain't got no deals. And then up and down. And it was nerve-wracking as shit at first because it was all my family and friends on there, and they're like, Tyler just quit his job. Well, I mean, this is one of the biggest things I tell everyone: network, network, network. What's a lead? What's title? What's a house? Like, I literally didn't know shit.
up and go from there. So Tyler, my man, if you want to kick us off, bro, just talk briefly about like your quick history here, and then let's get into what happened after Titanium University.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks, Nick, for letting me come on. I greatly appreciate it. I'm first and foremost to start off, I'm not no huge guru. I'm not here to say I know it all. I'm simply here to tell you my story, what works for me, and kind of how we're doing this. So, just a quick brief backstory on me. So I relate a lot to what we've been talking about lately. I come from a bad past of addictions. I went through, starting in like 2010 all the way to 2016, which has molded my killer mindset that you guys hear me doing, and like the bringing value and the just always pumped upness. Because and I was talking to Danielle, Jenny, and Jason about this morning. Like, literally in my head is like, I beat so well, I'm still, it's a daily thing, but I beat these addictions. And so in my head, it's like I can literally do anything I put my mind to. And that's why I say, like, literally 95% of this is mindset. Like, if you just have that mindset going in and just put the action with it, you will win, I promise. Um, Next, so kind of how I got started in real estate. So it was like 2021 or 22. I started dabbling in this, learning the knowledge. I went out to Vegas on anybody that knows me knows I'm an action taker. So I must have seen an ad or something. I flew to Vegas to a Ryan Pineda event. I'm like, I'm in, let's do this. I told my fiance, well, at the time, my girlfriend, literally like a day before, hey, I'm flying to Vegas for this event. She had no clue I was even looking at real estate. So I go out there, I learn some knowledge, come home, go back to my W-2, never do shit with it. So I had a little bit of knowledge, about 3% of what I have now, but did nothing with it, literally. Uh, then I was kind of, a little active in some Facebook groups and stuff. And I luckily met who are now a couple of my partners in Texas. And this brings me to my next point of how important it is to network and be vulnerable. Like, you guys, I mean, I started a YouTube channel. You'll see me posting in these groups. I'm in other masterminds. I'm posting in them. And literally it's scaled me so much. Like, now I have people in here like Mike who fund all my leads. I have private money lenders for bigger deals. And the only reason this is possible is because I'm vulnerable and put myself out there. And I don't only do the good. You'll see I'll post some negative shit too about my losses. And that's one thing I hate about a lot of the people is they don't tell you the losses, or like, what did you run into and how did you overcome it? Like, cool, you bought a Ferrari, sweet, how? And so, like, I try to be very transparent on all of it. And everything I do is based around value and networking and helping others. And the more you do that, the more people offer help to you. So, yeah. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I went to tech school. I became a power lineman. I'm here in Southern Ohio. So I was a lineman working on the electric lines for the last 5 years. Good money, decent money, especially for where I'm at. Actually, right now, all my buddies are heading to Florida for the hurricane. They're going down there, we're waiting on it, restore the power. So I was fleeing this time as they was going. But so I was making decent money, but with my background, especially of just addictions, I mean, guys, this started like weed to all the way. I'll be transparent here. At one point, heroin for a while. Then I was battling the alcohol. I've been sober off even alcohol for a while now. And literally from being sober like that, coincidence or not, about the same time I got completely sober, I've made this business. And so I was a power lineman making decent money. The worst environment in history. It's just a bunch of degenerates, and sorry if you know any linemen, but it's a bunch of degenerates who, like on this storm they're going to in Florida, they'll work 16-hour days, go to the hotel and drink all night, get 2 hours sleep, go back, do it again. Create stress on the family. I was going in Louisiana last year for 60 days. Uh, it was just a bad spot for me because I'm so vulnerable to those things. So fast forward a little bit. I had a little knowledge, I'm scrolling TikTok, I'm doing just like you guys are. And once again, with RJ being vulnerable and putting himself out there, I started watching and I'm like, honestly, at first I'm like, is there some big scheme going on here that these gurus are in on that like wholesaling is actually fake and like they're just posting this shit? And because it just seemed too easy, like RJ just makes it so simple and easy. So I reached out to him and we actually talked about this other night at dinner. He pulled up some of our messages from a while back, and I'm like, what's a lead? What's title? What's a house? Like, I literally didn't know shit. And RJ didn't know how big on action I was at the time, but he's like, do this, do this, do this. That night, I'm doing it, start taking action. And he's like, man, something's coming up here soon. I can't spill the beans yet, but you'll love it. That happened to be Titanium University. Uh, I got on a call with Nick, and honestly, the rest was history. So, what changed? So, now just to give you a background, I have a team of like 6 people. Our minimum, I guess, what we shoot for a goal each month is 50,000 profit. I literally just started building this 4, 5, 6 months ago. Our next goal is I've set like rewards for my team. The next goal was $100,000 a month. And 5 months ago, I was still a single person doing this all my own, doing all my acquisitions, doing all my dispositions, doing all my TC. And I told my closest friends here in town. And at this point, a lot of people was like, why did you leave that job? I'll get to that in a second. Like, I had a steady, good job. And like I say, if I have to bet on anything in the world, it's going to be me, and I'm doubling down, tripling down. Like, I'm going to win. It just is what it is. And so yeah, I was doing all that. So I was calling the PPL like you guys are. I was doing transaction coordination. At the time, I was nationwide. I was just trying to follow RJ's script exactly. I'm like, I'm not going to stray from this. I'm going to do what he's doing. There's going to be no excuses of why I can't produce the same results. Well, that just wasn't my cup of tea. I did it for a while. I couldn't handle it by myself with the TC, with the DISPO. I even hired easy REI closings. Like, I did a couple things trying to pivot, but honestly, it just wasn't for me. So I dialed back into Ohio, and the main reason I'm saying it wasn't for me was because I was getting deals, but they weren't really deals because I didn't know the markets that well. And if I got 10 contracts, you guys might see all Tyler's posting a contract every day. I bet 8 of those fell out nationwide. I've had 5 deals in Kansas, never closed one. Like, and it was just mentally, like, it starts to mess with you. You're like, do I even know what I'm doing? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? So I'm like, hold up, pause, hit the brakes, come back to Ohio. I already had relationships with the title here, Empora, highly recommend if you do deals here. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm doing Ohio now. I can handle this. And so that's what I started. And then all of a sudden, deals, 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 because I took out the back end part of it. TC was easy. Title knew me. We knew how the process worked. Dispose easier because I have a solid buyer list here. I mean, pretty much the whole state of Ohio. We're growing it every day, but I have a solid list, and we're always trying to grow that every single day. By the way, I just hired a dispo yesterday, full-time dispo. So, bringing back to Ohio took my confidence through the fucking roof. Like I'm telling you, I'm like deal. We have 7 deals right now under contract. Maybe one or two of them's iffy, but I feel really good about 5 of them. Uh, and so yeah, I just got my momentum going, and then so that brought my confidence up. And like I said, it all starts in mentality. So I'm like, now I'm in the mindset of I do know what I'm doing. I'm the shit. And now I go into every single call like I'm the best closer in the world and I'm the solution. And I think you have to do that. Like if you go into it like I'm kind of scared, I don't know, like they're going to feel that. And this is one of the biggest things I tell everyone, network, network, network. Literally, and it's self-limiting beliefs a lot. Like I messaged RJ before I started YouTube, like, hey, is this going to come off like weird? I'm not trying to be a guru. I'm setting the stage just as Caesar did with his. And and the main reason I started that is because like Nick said, I need to document this. And so yeah, just be vulnerable. Start with a simple Facebook post. Start posting every day in titanium, and people will start seeing like, wow, I see Tanya's name like every day.
Mhm.
And like they might not know Tanya yet, but like I see her all the time. Like what's she doing and being active. And that's I try to post on every platform every day. I know Travis Wells is big on that as well. But yeah, like I said, without Titanium, without RJ being vulnerable, without Jenny being vulnerable, Jason, like there's a whole collective team now of just straight killers. And it all stems back at one point or another from social media, whether we want to say so or not. But so the power of networking is literally everything. Like I said, I moved back for convenience. It just wasn't for me a nationwide thing. I already had some title companies here, primarily the one, and I'd already had some buyers. And the reason I had already had some buyers was I've obviously done a couple of deals here, but mainly was from posting in social media. I just put myself out there, hey, I'm doing deals. And it was nerve-wracking as shit at first because, it was all my family and friends on there, and they're like, Tyler just quit his job. What the hell's he doing? So I come back in Ohio. At first I'm doing PPL myself, doing the whole shebang. I get to a point where I'm confident enough and I feel I have the skill set to train more people. So I reach out, I hire some VAs. My team's based out of the Philippines, and I literally just took everything I knew, everything Titanium knows, and pour it into them every day. Like I'm constantly train, train, train. And I'm sending them our Titanium calls. I'm having them go on Investor Lift Dispo Day. And that's the only reason that, because some people do the same model I do with these same VAs where I get them and they're failing. And it's because they're not putting in the work. So, like, I mean, Jason and them have reached out about, hey, we want to do the VAs. And I'm very, 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 very clear up front. Don't expect my results if you ain't going to put in my work. Like, I didn't just swipe a card. Yes, Jamie, I am. I didn't just swipe a card and it happened. Like shit takes work. It's not easy. And so now how my business looks is we start from pull and list. We're pulling lists. We have a certain list rotation we use and a certain follow-up sequence. And then we're cold calling and cold texting. Yes, we still text. And then from there, it comes into my lead manager and it gets qualified there. They're running the ARV, the comps, and I'm like I said, I'm just kind of overseeing this. Then I train my acquisitions just as I do acquisitions. Um, Obviously, some of these leads they're not inbound pay per lead leads, so we approach them a little different. But I have him watch my videos, I have him watch RJ's videos, and we kind of merge all that together. And that's honestly why we're so much more successful than others because they don't have access to RJ and all this stuff. So, um, yeah, they pull that. Then, I have a dispo and we dispo it. And then, so I've started doing some calls myself again here lately. I got back on the PPL. And now that I have my team, basically a well-oiled machine, like I said, it took time. It's not easy. I close these PPL leads and then I pass them to my TC and it goes straight down the line. So I'm still just utilizing my team. I've built the system, and at this point, Um, my goals aren't like huge like Ben Frost and them are doing. Mine is I want to stay probably around 8 people. Right now we're at like 5 or 6 or something, but I want to be lean, mean, and I might build future teams again, repeat the process for others, but yeah, it literally it starts with detail, and we're doing it the old school way. We're literally pulling lists and cold calling. And the key here is your KPIs, and this is how we're getting deals is we make 6 to 8 offers a day, every single day. And we shoot for 1 out of 25 of those to be a contract. And the follow-up system, as Nick was saying, is a huge part in that. So our follow up looks like we have inside of our CRM, obviously, we have drip campaigns, and we have them set up like one's made specific for divorces, one is high asking price, one is tired landlords, and we have specific ones for specific people. And then we click it, and in the background, that runs for a year straight. I think it sends a text every 8 days or something. So it's not every day overloading them, but in the background, that's always running. And then once a month, we're trying to hit all those leads again on the phone as well. And that's something I iterate a lot is you're not going to close a lot of deals through email and text. Yes, it's possible. I've done it, but a lot of times you need to get them on the phone. So uh, I mean, we get a lot of our deals now from follow up because say I get a PPL lead, I don't close it, it's not motivated. I now throw that into our CRM, and now my acquisitions in the CRM's doing the follow up. So it's kind of like Tyler Austin's thing. We're trying to not let any single lead get through the cracks. Whereas before with me, say I had 200 PPL leads on a spreadsheet, unorganized as shit, I'm probably just going to throw 150 of them away if they don't answer the first 3 calls. And then someone like Brandon's going to come in and close them. I'm like, damn, I had that in my CRM. So, not that you need a CRM, but definitely have a setup structure of your follow up schedule. Something huge we hit every month is rejected offers. You get a shit ton of new deals from those rejected offers. Um, they maybe they weren't selling at the time or it was listed on Zillow. Well, then the market talks to them. Shit ain't moving, and then you want to be the first person on their mind when it is time to sell. Uh, so that's kind of our tactical stuff there, Nick.
Yeah. Real quick, I know there's going to be a lot of questions about pulling lists and skip tracing and some of that stuff. We'll get to those in what you do there here in a moment. I am curious, what kind of KPIs do you look for on the PPL leads that you've been working?
Uh, First calls 1 in 6 to 1 in 8 contracts. Um, that's me. Me.
First call?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Woo.
looking for. I mean, bare minimum 1 in 8, I'd say. Um, that's all property leads right now. I'm gonna move into. I talked to Gene about maybe fixed price mode, but yeah. And like I said, so mine, if I don't get them on 3 calls, I just don't have the time or energy to follow up. I just pass them on. Um, so I guess that would be 1 or 6 and 8 conversations, Nick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, conversations. But
What's your contact rate right now? Do you know?
no, here lately, I can tell you it's not been great. I'd
Yeah.
say the last 15 leads I've got so far to date, I've probably only talked to like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Um, that I feel like that's worse than normal, but that's here lately. So yeah, and so I'm just utilizing what I've already built to do my follow up,
Mhm.
and the reason I went back to PPL was one, half control issues and half like worried, like my whole team, like my whole life is based like on these people performing.
Mhm.
And so Nick said something one day of like, what got you here? Don't stop what got you here. And so I was like, shit, I need to get back on PPLs.
Mhm.
And so that's what brought me back in. So now, I know for sure if something goes horribly wrong this month, my team don't do nothing somehow, I'm likely still closing deals myself enough to keep the lights on and pay payroll.
Mhm.
So that was just something that, like you said it so good that one day, Nick, don't stop what got you here. And it
Mhm.
really resonated. So I make time now to do um, and something huge on this, I don't overload myself though. So like Mike funds my PPL leads, and I'm just straight up with him. I say, hey, at this point in time, I only want to be dealing with like 10 leads at a time, just being honest, because I'm still poking in on my business. Now I'm training DISPO, and more, as Nick says, more is not always more. I mean, he could send me 50 leads, but I'm not efficiently going to be able to give it my all. So I keep it lean. I know if I get 3 leads a day, I'm going to close one a week minimum. You know what I mean? So like that's just my steady comfort. And then I can have more risk over here with my team. And then as an incentive, I feed them some PPLs too, as well.
Yeah. So a couple things I want to touch on there before we go to some of the questions. One, this is a comment for those of you who come to my calls. You'll hear me say over and over again, but just understand that more is not better. More is just more, right? And so oftentimes we always want to do more. We want to go here. We want to do this. Some of you guys right now might hear that Tyler now has VAs and he's pulling lists, and now maybe I can go over there. But if you're already getting contracts and getting momentum in PPL and getting that going, I'm going to highly advise against that, because you want to really focus and master in one area. Notice how Tyler got his machine running. Then he was like, all right, now I'm going to add a second layer here. That's when we want to do it. The worst place to be is to be bopping around, getting no momentum, no traction anywhere at any time, right? And I will tell you, from my perspective and my experience, and I'm biased towards this because I've been generating inbound leads for the last 9 years, and it's basically my life's work in a lot of ways. The most scalable, consistent model you'll be able to do is being able to buy a paper lead and profitably close it over time. It's going to be the easiest thing. It's going to have the least amount of restrictions. It's going to have the least amount of chaos that comes in. Now, of course, VAs work. Of course, cold calling works. RJ still has cold callers, right? Still does it. They're still calling follow-up leads. They're great for follow-up. He still has his list. I mean, he was the list pulling guy for years, right? So he's not against it. But I will tell you, if you can spend $3,000 to get a contract and sell it for 15, and you can do that over and over and over and over again, that's how you win. Like, in being able to structure that, right? And it's just consistent. So I'm not saying don't go learn some of the first to market strategies or pull lists or anything like that. I'm just bringing it up for PPL also. And I just feel like I do have to advise it. What Tyler also said, don't cut off the head that feeds you, right? If we're making money and we have progress, let's first look to optimize it. If we're not making enough money, right? Maybe we can cut some fees. Maybe we can get an extra couple $1,000s here and there. Maybe we can get someone to cover our TC costs, whatever it might be, right? Be very careful of cutting off the head that's feeding you. Because I've seen too many entrepreneurs go to die on that because they get bored. They get bored of where they're at. And in reality, what we really should do is double down, do the boring work, and get better at the things that we're actually looking at doing. How can I make it 1 out of 6 deals or 1 out of 5 instead of a close? The last thing that I will say on this, and I've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. In my experience, after generating hundreds of thousands of leads, working with probably well over 1,000 businesses directly. For those who don't know, I had a program like this that had over 500 people in it that I coached while running my agency at the same time. Almost nobody treats the lead for the value that it actually is. And so what I mean by that is when a lead comes in and they say they want to sell, and let's talk about paper lead for a second specifically. At some point in time, they gave up their information because they wanted to sell the house. Sure, maybe they were drunk. Maybe they were frustrated. Maybe they're not ready to go right now. So it is our duty to wake up every day, and every time we see one lead, it's like, that's $10,000. That's $10,000. That's $10,000. And we want to be calling that any way that you can. Caesar, and I caught your joke, Jason, when Caesar posted the tally counter over there. I don't care whether you're using a tally counter, a spreadsheet, a CRM. We jam these leads until we either embrace no or we get them to sell, right? And like this contract, this viewpoint towards things is game over. So I'm going to have everyone run a little example here. I haven't done this in a while. I don't think anyone's heard this one yet. Okay. We're going to run a little experiment. Okay. Everyone in here has heard of Bitcoin, right? Has anybody not heard of Bitcoin? I hope not at this point. All right. So let's pretend that the you of today could go back to the 2015 version of you, okay? But the 2015 version of you, or 2016 version of you didn't know it was you from today, okay? And let's say that you from today went back to that 2015 version and said to that version of you, and you were able to, any decision you made back then, you were going to be able to prosper in today, and you're going to be able to take advantage of. And you said, hey, you need to sell everything and buy everything you can. Bitcoin's only $1 right now. Get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. And let's say that the 2016 version of you said, nah, I'm good. Nah, I don't want to do it. How often would you follow up with the 2016 version of you until they bought the Bitcoin? Until they fucking bought it, right?
Till they punched me in the mouth, and then I would go back a second day.
Exactly. Like that's the tenacity, right? And we don't need to be annoying. Just remember, especially with PPL leads, like they wanted to sell their house, right? Yes, you're gonna catch them when they're mad one day, or they're gonna tell, oh, it's my 50th call. It's like, well, bro, you put it online, right? They might have, who knows? They might have just gotten a car accident. Their kid might have just gotten sent to the principal's office. They might be hungover. So like, we don't want to, like, we think we're bothering people, but it's like they gave us the information, right? And so I want you guys to always remember that Bitcoin thought experiment when you're looking at your list of leads and you're like, man, I got 40 leads here and I've only talked to 15 of them. Do I really want to call them again for the 6th straight time? It's like, yeah, we do. Like, let's go. They want to sell their house. It could be great. You know what I mean? And so treat the leads what they're worth. Train you and your team. And honestly, this translates to your team as well. You need to treat the team to realize that, you know, let's say you're giving 10% on, you know, commissions. It's like, hey, that's $1,000 in your pocket right there. Go find out until it's not. And use those dollar values and connect to it. Especially if some of you guys have a lot of leads, or maybe you bought a speed to lead package, you got a bunch of bonus dollars and all this stuff. So anyways, just wanted to jump in there and say that, because that thought experiment always helped me. And it's something I always shared with our team and all of my sales reps. So, all right, where were we at, Tyler? Sorry, I got a little bit distracted on that. What's that? Follow up. Oh, lists. Yeah, let's talk about what you're doing with the list stuff. So you're getting PPL leads from property leads right now. 1 out of 8, 1 out of 6 to 1 out of 8 conversations, which is awesome. And they're mainly in Ohio for the property leads.
They are Ohio.
Are you doing statewide Ohio?
Statewide Ohio, yeah.
Okay. And so are you bidding for Mike? I don't know if Mike's on this call or not, but are you is he the bidding systems?
Yeah, so we just kind of coordinate together and what we think will work.
Are you guys just doing the minimum bid? I guess that's my question. How are you bidding on it?
We were doing the minimum bid. We recently upped it like 1 notch. I think it's by $25. Yeah, Brandon, I think it starts at 75 for statewide, and then the increment jumps to 100. But there is also times like, so this weekend, I knew I was going to Tampa and stuff. I called Mike. I said, hey, go ahead and pause the leads.
Yeah.
Like, I just know I'm not going to effectively be able to get to them. So I just don't want to waste that time. So yeah, we're statewide Ohio. And it's working for us so far. I mean, that's just where I found my lane. Like Nick said, just find what you're comfortable with and crush it. Like JW does a lot in his market and he crushes it. And so yeah, that's super big. And then as far as like the pull in the list thing, I would also highly advise not to do that if you're a one-man team and you have capital to buy PPL. And even if you don't, I mean, I would still maybe do some like Fizbo and Zillow, but the pull and list, it's not easy. It's tough. It can get expensive. Especially if you're texting. I don't know exactly right now off the top of my head or price per lead on that or anything. I can get it eventually. But I do know it costs money to pull list. It costs money to skip trace. It costs money to text. It costs money to call. Yeah, like Jenny said, it's super time consuming and a lot more money in it than you think. Just take action. Like literally, that's the only thing and only reason I'm here. And a lot of it was risk. Like I didn't have $1 trillion saved up when I left my lineman job. That was a funny story, by the way. Quick rundown of it. I told my job I had COVID, took off a week, never went back. So take action, never stop, literally. And the mindset, that's all it is mindset, keep going, network, and don't stop grinding. So like Nick was saying about the grind it takes, like when I first was building this team, I'd say for the first 2 months, like it affected my family life. It affected like everything because I was so determined and I seen the bigger picture and I knew I was being doubted and that fueled me. But even my fiance was like, kind of, are you sure you know what you're doing? And we talked about that this weekend with RJ. You know, she was like, what's going on? And I'm like, just trust me. I don't know how, but like this is going to work out. I promise. And so it kind of affected my life, but I put so much time and effort into that now if I wanted, I could only spend an hour or two a week in my business and it will run fine. I do more than that still because I expect more. I set expectations high. We're always growing, always implementing new things, but it is a grind. So don't think, oh shit, Tyler DM'd RJ one day, swiped a card, got VAs. Now he just sits at home playing PlayStation. Like, no, there's a lot of shit that goes on behind it. And it's just a non-stop grind. And if you're anything like me, it never ends. Like, this is just the one thing. Like, now I'm working with Jenny and Jason, and there's a whole other it's going to be a massive thing. I truly believe this is going to be integrated with part of titanium, like super, super deep. Like, they're doing great things over there. I highly suggest you guys reach out, anybody, just see how you can fit in. But, I'll do that. And then next, like, it's literally just growing, building, getting uncomfortable. Like, you're not going to grow if you're not taking risk and you're not getting uncomfortable. Like, trust me, this has been a stressful 6 months. Like, oh my goodness. But I put in all the work up front, well, most of the work, to now get my family time back. Now I take my son to school every day. Me and my fiance, we go to therapy. We just did it today, actually. No, not for bad reasons. Just I think everybody needs therapy. So, like, and that's just building back. Like, oh shit, sorry guys, I realized I was so focused over here. Like, now it's my time to, like, hey, I'll give back over here now and focus on what really matters. So definitely, that's something Nick's taught me a lot, is balance. Um, like I said, I'm surprised that there was certain days where
I just want to show, sorry, Fred, I saw your quote. This was hanging in the wall in my living room for so long.
and so I was down for a minute, like, we'll say in the first month or so, like, damn, should I have left my job? Do I know what I'm doing? It was super scary. And how I overcome this is just reaching out to my network. Literally, like, my partners in Texas, to be specific, they're all about thinking bigger and pushing me. So get in these groups and around people that's going to push you. Like the round table group we have a big text thing. And if you listen to all them messages this morning, it was literally all of us like, you guys are badasses, everybody's sweet here, pick it up. Like, and it's everybody literally just lifting you up. So get around the right people for sure. The little bit of money saved up from doing PPLs, but I was hitting that roller coaster effect, like RJ says. I was getting deals, funding them, then all of a sudden, oh shit, I ain't got no deals, and then up and down, and that takes a toll on you too. And I guarantee a lot of you are going through that right now, where you're a one-man team. And so, just me, how I'm built was, it was a turning moment of, I'm either going to keep doing this and hope it works out, or I have to bring on somebody. And so this is when I brought on like a lead manager and stuff to take on the back half of a lot of it for me. And then at that point, I seen the success in it, and I honestly just went all in. I said, I'm bringing on a texter, caller, lead manager, all this stuff, acquisitions. And so all my money was bet on these people. And the only way to make it happen was to grind with them for 10 hours a day for 3 months and make sure they're trained. I have whole Google Drives and folders that's built out like Titanium University for my team, which is also why I started YouTube, because now instead of having this folder for here, this folder with Jenny and them, like, I just put it all in one localized place. Hey, here's the stuff. And so, I mean, honestly, it's just believe in yourself, take the leap. It's going to suck, it's going to hurt, but I promise, if you have the grit and determination, just do it. I mean, literally just do it. That's, I mean, my biggest advice. And you're going to hit hurdles. I'm hitting hurdles now. Like I said, I just brought on a DISPO. I should be training him right now, but I did all I could yesterday, probably overloaded him. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be holding this guy's hand every single day. I had a very detailed meeting with him this morning of, like Nick said, here's your hour by hour of what we're doing today. And Nick calls that the ramp up period of 2 weeks. I'm following all of Nick's business plans and strategies because he's built multiple 7-figure businesses, one 8-figure business. Why wouldn't I listen? Find the people that are where you're at and have done what you want to do and get around them. Last weekend, they had a Florida thing. I'm jumping on a plane. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go be around these people that's doing what I'm doing. If I had to fly across the country just to prove, you know, I'm an action taker. I'm about this. Let's go to the next level. How can I help? I want to be a part. Shit's still not sweet over here, and I'm floating in daisies and rainbows. Like, like, we're hitting hurdles. And like Nick, I think Nick's quote is, if you don't have problems in your business, it's dead. Like, you're just going to hit Nick. I got a whole quote of you in here. I'm telling you, you run a lot of what I do. So we have problems, but I think I made a post about it. The problems I have now, I would have loved to have had 6 months ago.
Yep.
6 months ago, I'm like, how do I get leads? How do I talk to a seller? Like, I can't get on a phone. And now it's like, we got 7 deals to dispo. How are we going to move them? And even if you're just like, if it's you and Stan, I think it needs to be top priority is everything's out in the open. Everything's super transparent. The lines are drawn of here's where your job starts, here's where your job stops. Because a lot of times that gets a gray area, especially from contract signed to TC area, like who's calling who's setting up appointments. So there just needs to be expectations and clear in writing, black and white. Here's what you do to this point. Then at this point, we take over, and everyone has to know like their exact role. And you need to be as detailed as possible. Like everything we do is super, super, super detailed. We send start of day reports, middle of day reports, end of day reports with like 10 metrics for every single position we have. And that's how I'm able to barely be in my business is I literally can look at that for 2 seconds, see these 2 or 3 metrics, and I can tell you exactly what's wrong. Whether it's our list health, whether it's we're not calling, I mean, whatever it may be, I just have that structure set up now to where they know, hey, here's my job, here's what I do, here's where it ends, here's what I have to fill out every day, here's what Tyler wants me to hit, and then we just go in and monitor from there. And also is just lead by example. Like I'm in the trenches with them still every day. I don't, like I said, I could be out of it, just an hour or two here and there, but I like being in it. I enjoy being in it because you can't expect them to be near as good as what you are. And we're just fooling ourselves if we are. So I do all I can to make that happen.
I think it was pretty good having Tyler on. Tyler, thank you so much, man, for jumping
Yeah,
on.
thanks for listening to me for 90 minutes. Hopefully you got something out of it.
Hey,
And as always, reach out if I can help anyway. I'll do what I can with my time I got.